Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Named the dog Indiana.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in paints?
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, the podcast where we reminisce about our geeky childhoods with our ungeeky beer. I'm Tim.
And I'm Frank.
And Frank, we are drinking what today?
We are drinking good old Harpoon Brewery's Gingerland UFO beer.
So named because we are both gingers.
That's nope,
that's not it.
That is totally false.
Thought that was
neither of us are ginger.
We neither have blue eyes nor red hair.
Nope.
Nope. We have purple
but it is
eyes
gingerbread flavored beer.
Yes, and it is quite good. Actually, we've had this before. I enjoy
it.
Quite a bit.
I like the spices. I'm a big fan.
You are a spicy person. You are a spicy meatball.
Oh,
because
right.
you are Italian.
That's racist.
Oh, please.
So I was thinking about something. You know, it's really, it's we're in the Northeast. It's winter.
Mm-hmm.
And I really long for, the days when, I used to go on vacations with my family to warm climates and nicer destinations. Did you ever do that?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that today then.
No.
Oh, you didn't?
Yeah, no. In warmer climates, no. Yes, but let's talk about that.
Did you go on
today.
vacations?
Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Went on
Really?
vacations. Yeah.
That's such a weird coincidence. So did I.
Oh, my God.
We should talk about this. We should definitely talk about this.
We're such good friends.
Oh, my God. Let's definitely talk about
Okay,
this.
let's talk about it. Our favorite destination spots, places we've traveled, our favorite family vacaciones.
Where have you been?
That's a loaded question. Do you want it?
Don't list the countries in alphabetical order. Just.
I was going to ask if you wanted it from like youngest to oldest or just randomly.
Well, let's start with your favorite.
Okay. Well, I'm going to separate into two categories. Okay. I travel a lot, so
you do.
I'll do in country, out of country.
Okay.
Sound good?
Sounds good.
So in country, I've done some of these because I have family in these places, and so been to New Hampshire and Maine a bunch of times, Florida a couple of times, Disney, actually more than just the Disney area, Miami and Hollywood, Florida.
Oh, Florida.
Yep. And those are all fine. Those are all enjoyable. I like Maine and New Hampshire and Vermont and all that stuff, but they don't like ring ultimately super true to me. I've been to New York. Been in New York more times than I can count now. Yeah. Many times. I love New York, but I don't really consider that going to for a vacation anymore because I've been so much. It's like it's not like I'm not touristy anymore by the time I'm there.
Yeah,
like I know where I'm going.
Yeah.
So I've been to San Diego a couple of times and Anaheim because I have family in San Diego. I haven't been in let me see, how old am I? 7. I haven't been in
You're 7?
10 or 15 years. Way more than 10 actually. So maybe 12 to 15 years. Yeah, okay. I'm 7. Yeah, I ignored you.
Wow.
I know. Don't I sound huge for a 7-year-old?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an illusion though.
Wow.
I know. I look like Kevin from Home Alone.
Yeah, but you sound like this.
I know.
It's so weird.
I know. I look nothing like Kevin from Home Alone. I look more like John Candy from Home Alone.
That's a stretch.
That's also not true. We both have brown hair. I think thus ends my
That's really
John
the end
Candy
of it.
lookalike contest. So I like those. One time when I was in California and we drove from San Diego to Wyoming, Riven, Wyoming, because I have family there.
How far is that drive?
It was a couple of days.
Yeah.
2 days? It I think it was a 2-day journey to the other side. And so obscure Lord of the Rings quote.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. And so we stopped in Vegas on the way, which was very cool. I was 10, so definitely not old enough to do anything in Vegas, but I could walk the strip, which was very cool.
Yep.
I liked Vegas. Wyoming was beautiful. I would go back there in a second, actually. I keep saying that I'm going to, and I never do, which is sad considering I have a free place to stay.
That is sad.
But yeah, it's fine. DC, Philly, some smaller towns in Tennessee, plus
is it in
Knoxville? There it is. It's in Knoxville. I like Knoxville a lot. I've been there. I've been to Birmingham, Alabama.
Ooh.
Which was exciting. So nice. It was actually a nice town. I quite enjoyed my stay there.
Nice.
City, it's not town.
Right.
But
yeah.
So those are all in country places, and then I can delve more into it as we go. But I'll hold off on the rest of the world so you can talk, because I've been talking a while.
Okay. So that's kind of like a list of. Are those strictly vacations, or are those like places you've traveled for other reasons?
Well, I was on vacation when I traveled there. So, but no, none of them have been, apart from DC a couple of times, none of them are really business trips. They were all vacation-y type things. Philly, I guess it was a convention, so I guess you could kind of count that.
Sure.
But it was a vacation.
Okay.
Really. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. For me, you mentioned Disney. I've done Disney 3 times. Really fun every time.
3 times?
Orlando, yeah, 3 times.
I think I've done it twice.
Okay.
Once with my family and once with friends. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I did it twice with my family. Once as a little kid, once when I was more grown up.
Okay.
And then in between, I went once. It was like a high school graduation trip.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, class trip. So that was all 3 times really fun for different reasons every time. Absolutely love that place. Been meaning to go back because now it's been a while since I've been there.
Right. I would really like to go to Harry Potter Land myself. My parents have been like 5 times, and I haven't been once. Not 5, like 4.
But they've been,
yeah, they've been 3 or 4 times,
yeah.
and I haven't been once. My mom was like, "Oh, I got the wand, and I've got this, and I've got this, and all this stuff,"
Thanks,
and I'm
Mom.
like, "Yeah,
Thanks.
I have this first 7 books." That's about it.
That's where it ends.
Actually, no. They've been quite good to me. They brought me back a wand
Oh,
from Harry
nice.
Potter Land. I got to choose between Ron's or Voldemort's, so I chose Voldemort's because it looked cooler. Ron's is really just a stick of wood.
Yep.
It's really nothing special.
Well, he's poor, okay?
Yeah. Well, that was before they started like flourishing their wand designs inside the films too, and so I think that also was a part of it. So there's that. And this year for Christmas, they gave me a Harry Potter sweater, like a Gryffindor sweater.
Nice.
It looks just like a wool pullover,
Sure.
but you know it's a Gryffindor sweater.
Yeah.
And they gave me Gryffindor socks, which are awesome. They're red and gold.
Beautiful.
Yeah, which I wore on Christmas actually because they're red and gold.
There you go.
So yeah,
Good reason.
yeah. Okay. Continue.
I would also love to go to Harry Potter World. But yeah, Disney's great. But one of my favorite vacations I ever took was to Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, Virginia.
I've always wanted to go to Williamsburg.
Dude, that place Busch Gardens specifically is really fun. Like almost as fun as Disney. Almost Disney level fun. Like really, really great. So cool. It's got like sort of an Epcot vibe with the different countries that they have there. But it's also got kind of the Magic Kingdom vibe with all the different rides of different, varieties, different kinds. It's a really fun place. Before I had gone there, I kind of thought of it as like a knockoff Disney, like just some other big, amusement park, essentially, theme park. But it's so much more than that. It really is a Disney level of quality. You're talking about all the first of all, the landscape there is beautiful. You're great, trees and vegetation, everything. It's a beautifully landscaped area. And then among it, they've got all the different areas are landscaped to look like the country that it's supposed to be. So
that's cool.
It's really, really well done. Really, you forget you're in Florida. I mean in Virginia.
You forget.
That's how
you forget. That's how good it is.
What state you're in? But yeah, it was a really fun time. But that vacation was interesting. Because I don't know about you, but when I'm on a long road trip, I usually try to fill it with some kind of entertainment. I tend to be the kind of person who like loads up way more entertainment than I possibly need for the ride. Yeah, just to make sure. So I have options. Mm-hmm. So when
I'm that person too.
Okay, so
it's
like
a singular reason I got a Kindle.
There you go. Yeah. So you have a long train ride ahead of you. Yeah, you're going to talk to the person next to you if you're traveling with somebody, but at some point you're going to want to just do your own thing. Probably in many cases that's what you'll end up doing,
of course,
or you at least want to be prepared for that, right? So now I have an iPad, so I can load it up with a couple books, a bunch of comics, maybe a movie or two, or a few episodes of TV. All this stuff on this one device.
That's awesome.
That I just stuff in my bag or my back pocket even.
Yep.
And
it's all for the travel there, though. It's not while you're there.
No, it's for the travel, to and from.
Yeah.
But this was 2002? Mm-hmm. I didn't have an iPod yet. I
wasn't there. Yeah.
I didn't have an iPod yet, so
yep.
Let alone an iPad. So it was all right, what am I gonna do? So we took Amtrak to Virginia.
I think you told the story.
Did it sound on the show?
On this podcast. Keep going.
In this much detail, though?
Your dad tapes, trains. No.
It was okay.
No,
okay.
I know where you told the story, and it was not on this podcast. Okay. It was it was on our own road trip.
Oh, okay.
That's why I was why do I know this story?
It was on our road trip. You're
okay.
Right. Yeah. So I didn't have an iPod, but I had this concept that I wanted stuff to listen to on the train. Mm-hmm. So I loaded up a cassette tape, couple cassette tapes, one with music, I made a mixtape, and one with, I recorded like a couple of like radio shows that I liked, like talk shows, recorded those to pre-recorded to listen to later. I didn't listen to them when they aired. I just taped them. So I essentially had a mixtape with music on it, and then a bunch of pre-recorded. I had podcasts. I basically had podcasts with
nice. Of course,
pre-recorded radio shows to listen to on demand. That's like the definition of a podcast.
That is a podcast.
So I had these cassettes, and I was ready to go. Ended up that I thought I'd have enough to last me like the entire train ride. The train ride there was supposed to be 8 hours, which was already really long.
Yeah, that is a long train ride.
Yeah, it was cheap. I think that's why we did it that way. But that 8-hour train ride ended up getting delayed and ended up being a 13-hour train ride.
Oh my god!
And that was just one way.
Oh my god, this is such a long trip.
So I ran out of tapes like on the first leg of the first trip.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So that was interesting, but yeah. But I do think, I think back on that, and I was actually kind of ahead of the curve a little bit there, with music and talking and everything. It was like having an iPod.
Yep.
Before I had an iPod, and I wasn't even thinking of it in those terms. I wasn't like, oh well, I don't have an iPod yet, so I'm going to make these tapes. It was just what I did back then.
Yeah. Right.
So
I've done stuff like that. No,
yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
Your cruddy traveling story reminded me of, I want to call this, it's not a cruddy vacation because you look back on it fondly now.
They're always fun when you look back on it.
Always fun when you look back on it. But in the moment, certainly. I have two. One, I was on a bus coming back from D.C. with 50 kids on the bus.
Yeah.
And our bus broke. And so we got stuck, the fan belt broke. And so we were stuck for 6 hours, 7 hours. It was a long.
Oh my god, that's a long time.
It was a long time. Yeah, because we were 2 buses, and the first bus made it back at midnight, and we didn't make it back till 5, so we were stuck for 5 hours. Yeah, I know. But there was one. We took a family vacation up to New Hampshire, and I'm fairly certain this is I might be combining memories in my head, but I'm fairly certain this was the Six Gun City, Storybook Land, Clark's Trading Post, Extravaganza, New Hampshire theme park,
Yes.
the Flume, stuff like that. If you're in the New England area, I do recommend all of those places. They are a hoot and a half. I have a lot of good family stories from those places. But the days before the internet, this was like when you're like, this place has a review.
Yeah.
I will call for and arrange a booking with them. And my parents talked up this trip extensively. Like, as you know, all parents do, but this and that, and we, it's got an arcade and an in-ground pool and cable and TV and like all this stuff, and we get there, and it's like it's a dung heap. It's like 70s decor. Almost 30 years later, hasn't been changed.
Oh no!
You get inside, it's got like one light bulb hanging from the ceiling.
Oh,
it
no.
gets 2 channels on the TV. The arcade is like a Pac-Man and some game, like it might have been Paperboy for all I know. Like, and so it's just like, now I as a kid don't think anything's wrong with this. Like, we get it, but it's like it's one bed as opposed to like 2 beds and cots and a couch or like everything. It's like one double-sized bed. We have 5 people in our family.
Oh my god!
And so,
Oh my god!
and so I think I still I don't ever remember any of us. Like, my parents, I'm sure, had conversations on the side about it, but not one of my siblings or I were like, "This place is cruddy."
Right?
Like, nope, we had a great time. But my favorite memory is all being on the couch because it was raining, and the only thing on TV was a marathon of Green Acres.
Oh my god!
And it was like, well, this doesn't sum up this hotel at all.
Oh my god!
So, that was my
really funny.
That was the whole kit and caboodle of that trip. Oh my goodness, it was funny.
That's
I did enjoy
hilarious.
that. It was the other high quality family moment that I think of for vacation is we took a vacation trip, a road trip up to Canada. And
whereabouts in Canada?
we went to Quebec, and we were in Quebec City and Montreal.
Okay.
And so, but I remember we went with family friends too, and I have 2 stories from this trip. One, I turned 13 on this trip. It was my birthday season.
Okay.
And everybody got me a gift. It was really nice, blah blah blah. My brother, his gift turns around, hands me a bag of Cheetos. Happy birthday. Like, got it in the grocery store on that day because he didn't remember that it was my birthday or something. Like, I'll never. Bag of Cheetos, here you go. I mean, it was a family-sized bag, bless him, but like,
you give him a lot of credit for that.
I know, I do. And so that's amusing. But I'll never. When we were in Montreal, I remember thinking the city was kind of dumpy.
Really?
But I mean, that might be the
Be
memory.
ready to defend yourself.
Well, that was the memory. That might be my child memory.
Okay.
And we were also in Quebec City, which was very nice and clean, and not really a city in the same way. But Montreal is a city.
Yeah.
So it's just different. It's so
Got
you know what I mean? I would probably think that Boston or New York was dumpy in the same mindset. You know what I mean? It'd be like, oh, Nantucket's so beautiful, and then like you immediately go to the Bronx.
So just
whatever,
right,
and
just
you're like,
just because it's urban.
it's urban, yeah.
Yep,
and
got it.
so I have no problem. I enjoyed Montreal quite a bit. I just remember that. But we were walking in a group back from somewhere. I don't remember where. And my aunt and my dad had the map out in front of them, like the big giant map where they couldn't see anything in front of them.
Sure.
All they could see was the map. And they were like, okay, the hotel is up, like, we go straight down this road, and then for about, half a mile, whatever, we take a left and we go up, and then we take another left, and the hotel will be there. And I'm walking in back with my brother and my mom, and I look and I'm like, well, we came down that hill right here on our left from to go to the place. So all we have to do is go back up that
same hill.
But I'm like 11, so nobody's listening to me.
Yeah.
Nobody wants. No one pay attention to
Listen
me.
to the birthday boy.
Right, exactly. So I'm 12. Yeah, so I'm 12. or 13, whatever. How old I was at this point?
You were 22.
It was whatever. Was before or after my birthday? I can't remember. But either way, nobody was listening to me, and so we're going on this little venture, and I was like, okay, we'll just follow along, I guess. I trust my dad. I know what he's doing. And my aunt, they know what they're doing,
Of course.
So we're walking, and all of a sudden it starts to get a little seedy and seedier and seedier, and I'm seeing a lot of the letter X everywhere.
Oh, no.
It's all over the place. And that's right, they walked us right into the red light district.
Oh, you're kidding.
Walked us right through it. All these people selling drugs and doing the gambling and the strip clubs and the prostitution, this and that, and all these other things. And my aunt and my dad are completely oblivious to all of it because they're looking at the map. They're like, okay, we keep walking. They have no peripheral vision whatsoever on the other side. And my brother, mom, and I are just killing ourselves in the back of the group because like they think like they're like, we're doing it right. Here we go. And I'm like, no, you're not doing it right. No.
Should have listened to the 12-year-old.
Yeah. And because we finally got back to the hotel, and I'm like, yeah, that hill right there. Yeah, we walked by that. Yeah, it's right there. Yeah, but that's okay. Good memories.
Oh, yes. I have a recent, just about a year and a half ago, I was also in Canada. Went to Niagara Falls.
Oh.
Yeah, it was really fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, my girlfriend and I went. We had a really lovely time.
I say it like I didn't know. I know.
I was like,
oh, really?
the way you said that, I was like, maybe he doesn't remember. That's cool. Okay, it's like I'm telling it for the first time.
I know.
No, it was a really fun time. Have you gone to Niagara Falls?
I've never been to Niagara. No.
So it's
Justin Superman 2.
It's okay. Well, which counts? Yeah. It really is beautiful. It's everything that it's definitely worth going. It's a fun vacation. It's not, people used to go for like their honeymoon, that sort of thing. It's gotten a little cheesy.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't know if I would, it's not really like super. Okay. Here's, let me say it in a good way.
Okay.
It's gotten much more affordable to go to Niagara Falls. No, it's not a bad thing, but it's not the exclusive fancy thing like, oh, we're going to go to Niagara Falls for our honeymoon like it used to be.
Right. It's like, I'm going to Niagara Falls because
you could go for, for a smaller occasion that's not necessarily as important as your honeymoon. I would say you might want to save your honeymoon for something a little more exclusive, but it is really fun, and I recommend it for anybody who likes nature and likes to see sort of the wonders of the world.
I do like the nature.
It's fantastic. The Canadian side has a nicer view.
Okay.
There are more hotels on the Canadian side.
Oh.
So you want to be on that side where the hotel's behind you.
America's not that proud.
The New York side has hotels, but the hotels they do have are large, flashy casinos. I mean, literally, there's just one casino that towers over everything else and has giant, flashy lights and signs at the top of it telling you who's playing in the casino theater that night. But it is much nicer so on the Canadian side than it is on the American side, just because you're looking over at the American side where there is more. It's more untouched.
Okay.
And the falls themselves that are the Canadian falls are nicer looking. They've been weathered less. It's a really nice look. You get to go behind the falls. It's really, really neat, and the town there is really cool too. When you there's like an area that's like there's like an amusement park, small amusement park area. There's it's a big strip with lots of little. It's almost like Times Square. There's stores, there's restaurants, but then there's also like a Ripley's Believe It or Not, and all the I think Madame Tussauds and all these different attractions like that.
That's cool.
So it's really fun. We really enjoyed ourselves. It's not terribly expensive, especially if you go towards the end of the season. So like September, October.
So right before they closed it, was it the Queen? What's the name of the boat? It's the it's not the Queen Mary, is it?
No. It's the something of the Mist. Queen of the Mist, Mother of the Mist,
Queen of the Mist.
Yeah. We actually went like 2 days after they closed that. So we did not get to do that.
Okay. Well, that's why I was wondering if the end of the season is when the boat shut down.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And it gets much less expensive to go then. We stayed in like a really nice, I think it was like a Marriott or like a nice hotel with a room facing the falls.
That's cool.
For 3 or 4 nights, we stayed. 3 or 4 nights cost us what one night would normally cost. because it was off season.
Yeah.
And just barely off season, like 2 days off season. Like it was just the beginning of the off season. So I would really recommend it to anybody who likes to do that sort of thing. And, if you live in the States, you don't have to go too far. It's just over the Canadian border, like just over.
Just over yonder.
Or just over yonder. Yeah. It's really beautiful, and I really recommend it. It's great vacation.
Very cool.
Very relaxing.
Yeah. Very cool. Oh, yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I've never... I haven't been to Canada in a long time. I really would like to go back.
Yeah, me too.
There are parts of Canada where I would really want to see Vancouver.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man, I want to do like a Smallville tour of Vancouver so bad.
Why haven't we
it's
talked
far,
about
it's expensive.
that? I know.
I've talked about it with our
Canadian,
our friend
expensive.
Andrew. We talked about it back years ago. We talked about it, but now we're like old enough to rent cars and stuff. Back then we weren't.
That's also true.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other side of 25.
Oh yeah.
Just a few more years and we could be president. Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah. Why that we could be president, or that we could be because of the age, or that we could
that we could be president. To think of someone our generation being president is horrifying.
Horrifying.
Yeah.
Wow. Right. That would be somebody from our generation.
Anyway, let's not dwell on that.
But I can't help it now.
We're down to our last couple of minutes, but why don't you talk about maybe one or two international trips that really stand out to you?
So many. Okay. Well, I mean, I could save them for another time since we're really short on time. But
that might be a good idea.
I can say. Well, it's gonna sound like I'm like super snooty, but I just like to travel, and I have a job that allows me to travel to these places, so it's good that way. But I've done Ireland and Italy 3 times. Yeah, 3 times. France, Greece, China twice, and Jamaica for a service trip. Yeah, right, I didn't go to cruise. I went for a service trip.
Yeah.
And coming up in April, I'm going to France again, and Germany and Belgium and Switzerland and Luxembourg, which is going to be very exciting. And so when people say like, what's your favorite? I have a really hard time pinning that down. Like people might be like, well, it's obviously Italy because you've been 3 times, but they were all for 3 different reasons. One was for class in college, one was for a choir singing tour, and the other one was for work. And so, they were all definitely different trips. So it's funny. Whenever I went on a lot of these trips, it was usually a lot of them were in January. So this time of year, particularly, like early morning, like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. flights, and that like you take in that cold air and you're like, yeah, I'm ready to travel. Let's go. And so it happens every year. Mm-hmm. Actually, I'm like super ready to travel at this time of year. I'm like, let's go, cold air in my lungs. That means I have to get on a plane.
I do the same thing. I like to travel for when it gets cold.
Yeah. But I'll save those for another time. I could talk about those places. We spent a lot of time talking about American trips. America. But that's okay.
That's great.
They were great trips.
Every last one.
Yeah. I would like to. There are a couple places I really would like to go back to. I'd like to go back to DC to tour.
Me too.
Tourist, because most times I've been for work.
Yeah.
Yeah. It hasn't been for. It hasn't really
for fun.
For fun. I've been for fun to DC since I was 10, 9 maybe.
Time to go back.
It's time to go back. Yeah. And I'd like to go back to. I'd like to go back to Philly to see things, which you just did.
I did a few months ago.
Yeah. I would like to do that myself.
It's fun.
So,
it's fun. I highly recommend it. Yeah.
Cool.
All
right.
Do you want to leave me an iTunes review?
I do want to leave you an iTunes review. How do I do that?
Well, if you just go to iTunes and search for Beer with Geeks, you can leave a review or even just a rating. Just a star rating is fine too.
That's cool too.
So that would help. Mm-hmm. You can also check us out at beerwithgeeks.com or beerwithgeeks@gmail.com or follow our Facebook fan page. Just Beer with Geeks. Facebook.com/Beer or Twitter.com/Beer with Geeks @Beer with Geeks. Yeah, you can tweet us there.
Yes.
Yeah. Tweet us topic suggestions and reactions to the episodes, your favorite vacations, all that sort of stuff.
That sounds marvelous.
Yeah.
It sounds truly, truly splendid.
Make it so.
I make it so, number 1. All right. Now.
Engage.
Cheers. I don't know why we Star Trek at the end of that.
Why not?
Why not? You're right.
Jean-Luc is it's awesome.
As I recall, you said Kirk was your favorite.
Well, yeah, but Jean-Luc is still awesome.
This podcast is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. All character names, sound effects, and quotes are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Thought Bubble Audio Studios unless otherwise indicated.